Greetings, Brian Keeler here. I'm at my studio in Ithaca, New York, the North Star Art Gallery, and the focus of this video is the Nocturne, and I'm doing a Nocturne along the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania near my hometown, Wyalusing. It's a scene that I've painted many times, and I just did a series, or three plein air paintings there a couple of weeks ago. And the one that you're seeing on your screen here right now is also a plein air painting that I did of the same scene, but at sunset. So this is a evening view of the Susquehanna River that you're looking at now. And this next one that you're looking at is also a plein air painting that I did that same day, but earlier in the day. And it's a view of the same scene that I'm doing the Nocturne of. So the importance of doing these plein air paintings is to have direct observation of the scene, and so it will inform my painting that I'm working on here in the studio. And this next one that you're looking at is a Nocturne. It's not the same scene, but it's the same theme, an evening view of the river with a group of people around a campfire. And I also, before I start painting again, I have a wonderful full-length video that and it's a painting of Ithaca, New York, and that's what you're looking at here now. It's of the inlet, which is part of the Keeler Lake, and it's a Nocturne along the inlet here in Ithaca, New York. So if you want to go into it in greater depth, check out my website, which you'll see here on your screen now, briankeeler.com, and you'll see this full-length video of a Nocturne. Okay, so if you come down here to my palette here, this is the color that I'm mixing up, and just to show you how I mix this color up, what I'm going for is a very subdued, muted bluish gray, and I've mixed this up with a neat combination. This color that I'm using here right now is permanent rose. It's very similar to alizarin crimson, and then I'm putting a little bit of this color, which is a phthalo green. And the red and the green sort of cancel each other out to make an interesting grayish color. And that's what I'm looking for here. I'm going for a subdued color, and what I'm endeavoring to do is to bring out the silhouette of this tree. That color that I put down there is just a little bit too light, so I'm putting a little more black into it also. Right here, I'm just trying to mitigate it or subdue it, and I'm still not dark enough yet, so I want to go darker with that color. And these Nocturnes, we kind of deal in subtleties and nuances a lot, and that's just about right. So there's a big bank of trees here, and I'm kind of bringing out the silhouette of that this bank of trees here. Actually, I think I can use a little more bluish in there. So I'm putting a little more ultramarine blue in there. There we go, that's what I was looking for. And I'm working kind of generally here now, but the point is to bring out the figure-ground relationship, which is a term that just means light against dark. And that's just about what I wanted to do there. And I'll continue over here with the same color. So I'm looking for a nice subdued gray, and continuing this all up. When I did these clouds, I invented the clouds, but I've obviously looked at clouds a lot, and this arrangement of the clouds changed from my beginning estimation. I had them kind of lined up too much along a meridian, a line, so I altered them to have this kind of S kind of flowing kind of motion. So that's the fun part about doing clouds, is we can arrange them. It's sort of like Caravaggio talked about still lifes. There's a sort of similarity or corollary between painting clouds in the aspect that an artist can arrange them and manipulate them like one can do a still life. You know, the still life, we can choose the objects and the lighting. So there's that kind of parallel or similarity with clouds, and it becomes very personal and orchestrated is a good word for it. I can orchestrate the clouds So what I've done with the clouds here is have several layers. This is one layer, this one is behind this one. You can see this cloud overlapping, and then there's another cloud down here, so it kind of goes back towards this final vanishing point back here. And as long as I'm talking about it, I have this triangular thing that I use a lot with the moon and the moon reflection, and then the fire, and then this group of canoers over here. So there's this nice triangulation here going this way. Okay, I'm continuing with this dark color, but I'm always considering the figure-ground relationship, which as I said was the relationship of light and dark. And the idea here is to have this cloud a little bit lighter than the background. And as I come down, it's going to go lighter. And underneath of this painting, I had a grayish color, which is what you see right about here. It has one layer of oil paint on top of it, but the tint of the whole canvas was a kind of a neutral, muted gray. So I have this area in here, and I've accomplished more or less what I wanted to do over here. I'm going to go back in later with a smaller brush to articulate some of these branches a little bit more. And once this paint dry, this is wet right here, I'll go back in and put some air holes in there. But what I'm going to do now is go up and go darker. If you come down to my palette here again, I'm just going to make it darker. I'm adding some ultramarine blue in and some black, and that's some cobalt blue there. So I'm going for a darker, deeper blue to go up. And that's, I need to go a little bit darker than that. It's too close to the same value. And a little bluer. Okay, that's the color that I'm putting on now is what I'm looking for. I kind of oftentimes make the colors a little more intense just for expressive purposes. On some that I made them kind of a bluish greens, sort of like Maxfield Parrish blue. But when you're out there looking at night, the chroma is quite subdued. So that's, I'm going for more of a naturalistic effect rather than an expressive one. So I'm going to do the same over here on this side. The part of the thing with nocturnes is they're a poetic mystery about them, and that's part of the fun of and the enjoyment that people relate to is the mystery of an evening setting. And the painting is almost a monochrome in a sense. I mean, there's some intense color with the fire, but that's part of the strength of it, is a limited palette, and that adds to the strength of it in a way, and the appeal. Right there, I just put in some more of that phthalo green there. I don't know if you can see it. It's a lot of subtleties and nuances in these dark colors. I just dripped some there, but that'll be okay. I'll correct that later. I'm using quite a bit of thinner mineral spirits, so the paint is quite thinned out. And I got some on the heel of the brush there that I just did there. So let's get back and take a look at it here. I'll step back and evaluate what I'm doing. So the next phase was to bring this progression down to the bottom, so it continually will lighten up. Got one drip over here. I'll get off of there. So maybe I'll do that quickly right now. So I've got that color. I'm going to mix up a lighter color here now to come down to the horizon. I'm going to mix up this color with some cerulean blue. That's what that color right there is. So it's sort of like a graduation of tone. That's a neat a neat word for this idea. In other words, the value gradually comes down and gets lighter towards the horizon and towards the moon. And this cerulean blue is a slightly warmer blue. All blues are kind of cool, but cerulean is closer to green. And so I'm doing a couple of things, lightening and slightly warming the blue as I go down. And still trying to keep it not too chromatic. In other words, to repeat that, keeping it subdued and mysterious quality. I'm not doing too much articulation or drawing, but somewhat, you know, I can go in here and make a little more definition to those clouds, but I'll do that at a later setting. Right now I just wanted to accomplish this overall statement of tones here, and this gradual going from dark to light. And this is the transition point right here. I'm kind of feathering it to go between them. Okay, I'll do that a little bit more later, but one of the main things I wanted to accomplish in this little demonstration was to bring out this tree here, which I've done, and I'll do it more detailed later, but so you can see the silhouette of this painting here, the image that I'm painting. So with a nocturne, we're often dealing with the subtleties and nuances. It's very simplified, almost silhouetted shapes, but that's often the way it happens at nighttime vision. It takes away a lot of the details. I'll probably come in and do a lot more detail with the fire and the figures in the background. One of the things about the figures, I'm reminded of Ennis's work, and he did these wonderful canvases where he would just do the figures with a few dashes and brushstrokes, which I loved, but I'll do mine a little more detailed than Ennis did. So I think that's what I wanted to share with you here with this, these nocturnes and these night scenes that I've painted over the years. And this is the most recent one, a nocturne of the Susquehanna between Wyalusing and Sugar Run. So we have a wonderful exhibit of sky paintings here at the North Star Gallery in Ithaca, and you can see them on my website or the North Star website, which you'll see here on your screen here now. So thank you so much for your attention.